Welcome to Life Brand Management Podcast with your girl Brittany. Hey, aka BC Starks. I am back with episode 4 of my podcast, and I'm going to be 100% honest with all of my listeners today. I did not have a topic planned for what this podcast will be about, and I'm going to tell you, part of why I did not have a topic planned is because I've been procrastinating all week long on whether or not I was going to even record my next episode. And so part of why I jumped on with no topic is because I need to get out of the perfectionism complex. I need to move out of that complex because I no longer need to live there. I no longer need residency in the perfectionist complex. It doesn't suit me. It doesn't fit where I am headed in my life. And so maybe you can relate, and maybe that's why I jumped on, because you need a wake-up call like I had to pep talk myself just now, to get on and do the thing that you know needs to be done, regardless of whether or not you have it all together, regardless of whether or not you got it all mapped out, regardless of whether or not it's perfect or just the way you thought it should be. Sometimes you just need to put the motion in the ocean. You need to put one foot in front of the other. You need to take the first step just from seeing... you need to take... I was trying to say a quote that's really popular. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. Yeah, I screwed that all up. But you guys get my point. Procrastination has been a big thing when it comes to me and my creative endeavors. A lot of my things that I put on hold, I think if you listen back to episode 1 when I talked about what kept me away from being a content creator for the past couple of months, is that I've been stuck in this pattern of like perfectionism, or if I can't conceive it or conceptualize it in a way that feels right, then I'm just like, oh, I'll just wait. And I'm gonna tell you, fear is the thief of time. Like, it will rob you of your time because it will make you feel like you have all the time in the world. And one thing about the past 2 years that I've learned is that life is very fleeting. You know, we all are born, and then there comes a point in time where we won't be here anymore, and none of us get to dictate that. None of us get to dictate when that will happen for us. And so my procrastination, Lord knows how long it could have continued to last if I didn't challenge myself to do the hard thing, or didn't challenge myself to do what I need to do and not focus so much on what I felt like doing or what I convinced myself was not so scary to do. And so I don't know who's listening to this at this time, but I just want to encourage you to not put off that thing that you know you need to do, because listen, there's only one you in this reality. There's a lot of people who you might be thinking is doing what you do or what you want to do. There's plenty of people, right? You can probably find countless examples. But there's not a single soul on the face of the planet that will do the thing that you want to do quite like you will do it. And so the longer you take, or the longer you put off sharing your gifts, your talents, your ideas, your energy, your service with the world, you know, you're taking for granted the fact that you think you have time. Because before you know it, you'll look up and a good portion of your life will have gone by. And it's the one thing that you can't get back is time. You cannot get it back. You cannot age backwards. I wish we could, right? Like, I wish we could jump into a time machine. But guess what? You know what? I'm going to take that back. that sounds very limited in my speech, because I'm learning so much about quantum physics now that I really don't even know that I believe a lot of the stuff that I've been saying for years, such as you can't get time back. I don't know. I don't know what's possible. But what I do know is possibility happens in terms of belief. So if I hold that belief that something's not possible, then I'm right for myself, right? So, but not to negate the main topic of my video, which came out organically. Again, I did not plan this podcast, but if you are still listening 5 minutes in, then this message was for you. And I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for listening, because I helped myself by doing this podcast, by not staying in my comfort zone, by committing to something even though I don't feel like doing it, or I don't think that it's good enough at the moment. I'm getting out of my head and into my heart, and I have every intention to share a lot of what I'm learning along my journey, as I'm learning more and more about manifestation and our ability to create our realities using, or being first of all, being made aware of certain laws that exist, that for a long time the collective didn't understand these laws and principles, and it was kept amongst a few people who were considered, very spiritual or woo-woo. And now I'm so happy to see that we can marry the fields of science and spirituality together, because they're now pretty much going hand in hand to help us better understand our existence and how we co-create and how we create our realities with our thoughts and emotions and attention. And so as I'm on this journey, I am excited about what I'm learning. I'm excited about the things that I'm proving to be true for myself, which is that I really am super freaking powerful. Like, we hear it all the time. Like, we are powerful beyond measure, right? I think Marianne Williamson's quote says something along those lines: is our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Now, I don't know how to really break that down in a way that sounds very, praiseworthy. But I do know that the latter part is that we are powerful beyond measure. And I think we get to have that belief, or solidify that belief, the more we practice what we're learning along our journeys and prove things to ourselves as we go. And so for me, along my manifestation journey, is that I know when I don't put fear first and instead I lead with faith, I do the hard thing. I put away procrastination. I hold myself accountable. I show up consistently. I discipline myself in the direction of what I truly am after, even if it is just to share, even if it is just to commit to something that I said I would commit to. The more I walk the walk, the more I see things unfold for me. And I think I've witnessed it happen with so many people. Like I was just watching one of my favorite YouTubers. He shared that he hit 100,000 subscribers. And I literally remember following him on YouTube when he had about 2,000 subscribers. But at the time, he literally would hop on YouTube live. He would do a live stream and he would just record the video. He never did any kind of editing. He would just talk from an authentic space, and he would share about whatever topic was on his mind. And he did it from such an authentic space. And then he would hit publish, right? And then he titled it. He never had a thumbnail, a fancy thumbnail. He didn't have any kind of clickbait, content that we tend to do when we think we got to market our channel. He never said like, comment, and subscribe to my videos, because his pure intention was just to share with whoever it resonated with. And when I tell you, this guy, he literally attracted his tribe, because he never had an ask. He never tried to market. He just showed up his authentic self. He just showed up being. And It's almost like God and the universe just conspired to bring him every person who could benefit from whatever he was sharing. And I truly believe that that is a thing. I believe that there's an audience for everyone. And I think we get a glimpse of that on TikTok and we on social media when we look at certain people and we're like, how does that person have that many followers? Like when they don't, in our opinion, they don't really do anything. Well, they may not do anything that you find interesting, but they sure as heck showed up in a way that was authentic enough for them to attract the many people that are into whatever they're doing. So there's an audience for everybody. There is something out there for everyone, whatever it is you could be thinking about. And so if you just show up, like I'm showing up today, like you're listening to me on my soapbox without a plan, show up and share what it is you came here to share. What are your gifts? What are your talents? What are your ideas? How are you going to prove to yourself that you can do, be, and have that which you desire if you do not walk in the direction of what that is, right? So for me, I don't necessarily have any aspirations to blow up on my podcast, although I would absolutely love it. And I also believe that it will definitely be inevitable the more consistent that I show up, because I know that what I share, it does resonate with people, a lot more people than I may even know. But this is me making a promise to myself that, hey, get some of this creativity out of you. Get some of these lessons that you've got built up. Instead of writing them just in your diary or your journal or talking to the people in your inner circle, which, by the way, my people in my inner circle, they are really proud of me for doing this podcast, because they always tell me, you should start a podcast or something, because you always sharing something that's really insightful, or you always put a spin on things in a way that I can understand it. And so it allowed me to recognize, I do have a gift for communicating messages in a way that can be made clearer. I am aware that I did come with that unique gift. And I'm also very, very fortunate that my mother saw that gift in me at a very young age, and she put me on a path to study communication. So that is my background. I had someone tell me the other day, I just thought you were a public speaker or something. And I chuckled to myself, because in a lot of ways I am. I studied journalism in college. I went to school for broadcasting. So you would have seen me on your local news station if you lived in the South Florida area, or you would have seen me on ESPN if I continued that route, that path. But I chose a different route. And here we are, years later, after graduating and working in multiple fields, to end up full circle in the field that I really truly studied as my craft, which is communications, it's journalism, it's public speaking, it's being a communicator. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I always knew I wanted to share my gift with the world, whatever God placed in me. And for me, it's always been, I've been drawn to things of the other world, of the things that are unseen. So I've always gravitated towards books and things that help me understand life beyond, what we see, different religious books or spiritual books, or, science, psychology, the things that aren't tangible, right? I've always been drawn to that. And so I always knew somehow, some way, the things that interest me, I'd be able to match that with my skill set and be of service to the world through that avenue. And so I'm really grateful that I had that preparation, but also that I was able to overcome the fear and stop holding off on what I am capable of, because we are all so capable of whatever is in front of us at the moment, using what we already have. So this was the least or as Abraham and Esther Hicks would say, the path of least resistance for me to do the thing that I know I should have done. Because for me, it was always about, I got to shoot a YouTube video. I got to have the proper lighting for my YouTube video, or I got to put on makeup, and then I got to set up, and then I got to record, then I got to edit, which are also some of the skills that I learned in broadcasting and television production. But it just seemed so cumbersome. And if I were honest with myself, it seemed like a lot. And so some days I just be like, that's too much to do. But a good friend of mine, if you listen to one of my earlier podcasts, I think it was episode 2 where I talked about my friend Michelle, who pretty much said to me, girl, hop on Anchor, record a podcast, just record yourself speaking and hit publish. And that is your podcast. And I thank her again and again and again. And I'll thank her again here on this podcast episode, because she truly did allow me to take the path of least resistance when it comes to doing the thing that I know I need to do rather than what I feel like doing. And again, if this can be a message that resonates for anybody out there, then I'm really, really happy that I pushed through today and did the thing that I know I needed to do. And I'm glad that you came here, and I hope that you find that little voice inside you that says, hey, let's do it. Let's do it with whatever we have, and let's make the best of it, and let's tweak it as we go, because that's exactly what's going to be happening on this side. I'm going to get better at these podcasts. I'm going to tweak as I go. But I'm really enjoying not having to edit and not having to get all, crazy with it in a way that I stop myself from moving forward. And I think that's all I have to offer today. But I thank you for tuning in. And if you have not heard any of my previous episodes, I encourage you to listen to them. There may be something there for you as well. And if not, this might be a one-off, but, welcome to the Life Brand Management Podcast with your girl, Brittany. Hey. Hopefully we'll meet again soon. Till then, toodles.